This is an example of skips, an audio compression tool that's specifically tuned for the reproduction of human